Here are today's starting lineup. First for Milwaukee. At guard at 6'1" from Providence, number 3, Eric Murdoch. At guard at 6'4" from Arkansas, number 21, Alvin Robertson. And forward at 6'9" from Seton Hall, number 00, Anthony Evans. And forward at 6'4" from East Carolina, number 30, Blue Edwards. At center at 6'9" from Penn State, number 40, Frank Brickowski. The trainer is Mark File. Assistant coaches Frank Hamlin, Butch Carter, and Jim Ian. And the head coach, Mike Dunleavy. And now, please welcome your New York Knicks. At guard at 6'6" from Kansas State, number 20, Rolando Blackman. At forward at 6'4" from Marquette, number 25, Doc Rivers. At forward at 6'10" from Pittsburgh, number 54, Charles Smith. And at forward at 6'9" from Virginia Union, number 34, Charles Oakley. And at center at 7 feet from Georgetown, number 33, Patrick Ewing. The head trainer is Mike Saunders. The assistant trainer, Tim Walsh. Assistant coaches are Dick Carter and Jeff Van Gundy. And the head coach of the Knicks, Pat Riley.
Well, it's a couple of ex-Laker coaches going at it this afternoon at the Garden. Pat Riley's going to throw Patrick Ewing at Mike Dunleavy, and Dunleavy knows with Moses Malone out due to back surgery to repair a herniated disc, he's got a problem. How much of an answer is Frank Brickowski going to be? That's a pregame discussion with John Andres.
Well, the main thing is, you know, Patrick's going to score on anybody. That's the main thing. You got to realize that. You just got to try and keep it from going, you know, for 30, 40, or 50 on you. Try and keep the ball out of his hands as best you can. You know, you probably see a lot of double teams on Patrick. As he, you know, he sees them every night, though. It's not going to be any different for Patrick.
Well, if a man learns from dealing from adversity, a few coaches had a lesson comparable to Mike Dunleavy at the helm of the Los Angeles Lakers a season ago. But now he's in Milwaukee for what seems to be a life term in guiding the Milwaukee Bucks, his former team.
Yes, he got an 8-year deal to coach this team and also make their personnel decisions.
The tip-off, which is won more times in the NBA by Patrick Ewing than anyone else, comes to you from the trading card camp from the Upper Deck Company. Nobody does basketball like Upper Deck. Darryl Garrison, Ted Bernhardt, Mike Costabile, the officials today assigned by the NBA. Rolando Blackman looking inside on Patrick Ewing.
See how quickly that double team came to Ewing.
Very quick reaction on Milwaukee defense. You get that indication early on, but Charles Smith gives the Knicks the lead.
Key matchup, Blue Edwards and Charles Smith. Edwards, they say, is 6'5", Al. He walked by me before. I think he's more like 6'4". Big challenge for both players.
Alvin Robertson, the leading steal man in the NBA. Anthony Avent will team up, it seems, in the middle, not with another forward, but with Patrick Ewing. 2-2.
That's a smart, interesting move by Mike Dunleavy because Brickowski will draw fouls quickly on Ewing.
Charles Smith, very active and very successful.
Now there was an adjustment. Brickowski went over to Charles Smith, so perhaps they will stay with that lineup, two players more closely together height-wise.
Brickowski getting free on the baseline for Murdoch. And a rainbow that's all net. 4-4. Rolando Blackman with some room on a quick transition. Ewing for Blackman. This time it goes.
Nice tip by Charles Smith, and the ball found its way back to Blackman.
Blackman's been shooting just over 40%, but 7 of 12 in the loss to Cleveland.
What a play by Rivers and Ewing on the double team.
It winds up in Blackman's hands. Charles Smith drops it for Ewing. This time it is Brickowski on him. He draws a double team. Almost a turnover, however. A foul against Milwaukee. Definite Utah Jazz flavor to this Milwaukee Bucks team, who, like the Knicks, have 7 new faces on this particular team. Eric Murdoch a couple of seasons ago with Providence, and Blue Edwards. Charles Smith tangled up by Brakowski, or Oakley rather, foul on the shot.
What the Knicks have to be careful of, Al, which you alluded to when we spoke at the Open, is the guard defensive play. Murdoch and Robertson have been dynamite, leading this team in steals. The best team in the NBA at stealing the ball, almost 13 a game, and almost half of them come from these two. Robertson, who has led the NBA before in steals, is doing it again this year at over 3 a game.
Charles Smith, 72% on the season from the free throw line, cans them both. 8-4 Knicks. John, I know that you and Marv couldn't agree on a look-alike that you felt was very evident on the floor. Can we go with Blue Edwards and Curly Neal? Do we have an agreement there?
I'll buy that. How much more amiable guy, easier guy to deal with than Marv.
Don't expect a response from me in one way or another. I think I lose either way.
No, but that's I can see a Curly Neal look to him, definitely. He's got to smile more, though. Curly's got that smile plastered on his face.
Doc Rivers seeing some space, lost it as he crossed the free throw line. Knicks with 8 on the 24. Smith again. Hustle by Smith to follow. Bucks on the run. Rivers on the save. Now the Knicks in transition. Bucks quick to get back. What a pass from Smith to Ewing. Blue Edwards on the miss. Blue Edwards is off. Rivers kept it away. Saved by Alvin Robertson.
Second-year man Eric Murdoch at the helm. He didn't play much for Utah last year behind Stockton.
Ewing almost slapped it away from Avent in the low post. Murdoch for 3. Ewing is there for the rebound. Rolando Blackman wasting no time. That's 4 for Blackman, both from the perimeter. He's 2 for 3.
Nice rapport with he and Rivers, too. Blackman appreciated that pass and expressed it to Doc.
Here's a timeout for Mike Dunleavy and the Milwaukee Bucks. It's early, but the Knicks are up by a half dozen.
Moment is brought to you by the team of Canon Technology and MCS Service. One is a great reason to buy the other. Knicks looking sharp early in this game against the Bucks. One of the reasons is good ball movement. Blackman to Ewing outside again. Smith giving the ball up again to Oakley, getting it back, and Charles Smith hitting that jump shot. Beautifully done.
Smith with 6 points. Knicks on a 6-0 run. 3 turnovers for the Bucks, none for the Knicks so far. Anthony Avent is off the mark, and this will be a foul against Danny Shays, who is an early substitution from the Bucks bench. Shays has been a DNP in half of the last 6 games, but against a tall Knick team, the Bucks need him.
One of the reasons for that point you make, Al, Mike Dunleavy was telling me before the game, they were thinking about a deal involving Ala Abdelnaby, which they made yesterday, and they had to advertise him. That's why Shea suffered in playing time. They had to play Abdelnaby.
Patrick Ewing in traffic, dropping it in. Knicks on an 8-0 run and up 12-4. Bucks just sending Ala Abdelnaby to the Boston Celtics for John Barry. Big hoop and a powerful move by Alvin Robertson, who so often plays taller than he is.
He can be a spectacular player offensively, but he has not been shooting the ball that much, pretty much concentrating on his defensive game.
Rivers pestered tightly by Murdoch. Blackman is open again. Ewing tips it away, but it will be Bucks ball.
Right back, Daniel.
One of the things Pat Riley naturally will be concerned about with this Knicks undefeated record at home is that thinking the team can automatically win now. He said we can't think that way. It's not automatic because we are at home.
Ewing chasing Murdoch, almost poked it from behind. Blue Edwards all net.
The feeling was that Blue Edwards only was effective in a transition running game because he's spectacular in that style. But when you see that jump shot, it shows you how much he's developing his game. What a nice play by Shea, stripping Ewing.
Coming back the other way, Alvin Robertson in the corner, guarded by Rivers. It is Blackman on Murdoch, Shays with Ewing, Anthony Avent with Oakley, and Charles Smith with Blue Edwards. Robertson. Shays is open. Foul against Rivers. On the switch defensively, the Knicks got caught. First foul on Rivers, first on the Knicks. That'll send Danny Shays to the line for the Milwaukee Bucks.
You mentioned, Al, he hasn't been playing much. Those numbers are down because he's been playing an average slightly under 9 minutes a game. And he's only played in 11 of the 14 games prior to today.
And John, you mentioned you've seen Dad?
Yes, Danny Shays' father, Hall of Famer, NYU great, Syracuse Nationals great. Dolph Shays is in attendance today.
It is now 12-10 as the Bucks get themselves back from 8 down. Rivers runs into Murdoch. That'll be an offensive foul. Now keep an eye on the Knicks bench for the sensitivities depending on how the fouls are called today.
Murdoch moved his feet. That's what good defensive players do. He beat the offensive man to position.
Blue Edwards. This time he's off, and Doc Rivers goes high for a rebound over Danny Shays. Oakley tests the waters. 14-10. First hoop for Oakley.
Avent was laying off Charles, and Charles wisely took the shot.
With Blue Edwards on the drive, lost it. Avent comes up with it. Oakley slaps it away. Bucks will inbound, but hustling defense by the Knicks. 12 on the 24-second clock for Milwaukee. And Greg Anthony is in, replacing Doc Rivers. Exactly midway through the first quarter, and the 2 point guards have been mostly sharing time. Rivers leading with 2 fouls. Oakley on the ground, gets it to Smith.
What a great play by Oakley, slapping that ball loose and making sure his teammates got it.
He's been on the floor a lot this season and already in this game. Smith, good look for Oakley. Charles Smith with 2 sizzling assists already in the game. Pat Riley screaming out instructions from the opposite side of the floor. 10 on the 24. Very good defense on this sequence by the Knicks. Robertson from a little bit beyond what Mike Dunleavy wants to see.
The Buck guards could not get the ball inside. The Knicks defenders had everybody covered.
Inside, outside, Ewing to Anthony. Ewing draws 2, looks for a cutter, but instead draws a foul.
That is the aggressive defense that's gotten the Bucks to this 10-4 record coming in today. No NBA team has a better record than the Bucks. Knicks defenders on that last sequence played so tough that the Bucks had to go with the jump shot at the end of that 24 seconds. They couldn't get it inside.
Greg Anthony tries to leave Eric Murdoch and now has to retreat into the backcourt to pick it up. Nifty little between the legs dribble. And now the Knicks have 10 on the 24. They go to Ewing, who bangs it on Danny Shays. Four points for Patrick. 18-10. Knicks once again in front by 8, matching their biggest lead. Edwards looking for Avent. Fathered inside by Ewing, but able to get it in. First point for Anthony Avent at the Garden since his Big East days. He decided to play in Europe last year rather than sign with Milwaukee. Oakley with the foul. He got that shot off so quickly. Barely jumped.
Well, the Knicks front line, the big men are passing the ball exceptionally well here in the first quarter. Another angle on the same play. Ball goes inside to Ewing. Patrick just reaches right over Burkowski and gets the ball into Oakley.
This is really, John, as you allude to, as Brad Lohaus checks in from Milwaukee, replacing Blue Edwards, the way the offense would ideally work. The big men setting up, draw the double team look. Everyone's looking to pass, and then you've got Blackman outside hitting 2 or 3 15 to 20 footers.
Mike Dunleavy now going with Brad Lohaus for a little more height Rojas, the 6'11" player, replaces the 6'5" Lou Edwards.
Charles Oakley has 33% of the Knicks' 21 points. That's 7. With 4 minutes to go in the opening quarter at the Garden. Anthony Avan falling away, but beautifully tipped inside by Alvin Robertson. He's so tough. Anthony for Blackman, tightly defended by Robertson. That wasn't the case in the first few minutes of the game. Now Ewing charging to the hoop. Kept alive by Oakley. Ewing is there.
All that phrase, kept alive, is more important than the shot. You don't get that chance because of that aggressiveness like Oakley just showed again. You don't get near the shot.
Murdoch. Rebound Oakley. Knicks front line is killing Milwaukee. Ewing guarded by Shays. 3 defenders in the area. That leaves Smith wide open.
Easy, isn't it? What a simple game this is.
But really, John, you know, we've seen Patrick Ewing enter many a game where he should easily outplay the opposing center. Not always the case. Yet today, he's really looking to take it to the basket in this first quarter.
He's getting great support, too, with Smith and Oakley.
Shays bothered tremendously by Oakley's defense. Avan. 4 points for him. 2.5 to go in the opening quarter. Knicks by 9. Smith on the shot by Eric Murdoch. There'll be free throws upcoming when we bring you back to Madison Square Garden in a moment.
It's a great deal.
Ball day at the Garden. Patrick Ewing Voigt Ball Day. And many recipients in this round. Now the Knicks have made 8 of their last 10 shots from the field as Charles Smith will take 2. And as you look at the Bucks, John, in a game of, as you say, big people, what are the Bucks doing at 10-4? And I guess you just look at their schedule and you get one of the big reasons why.
Well, they have not played the NBA elite very much. They lost to Chicago and San Antonio early in November, but they've gotten through Miami and Washington and Philadelphia, Cleveland without Brad Daugherty, although they split, Indiana as well. But they've won close games, Al, and their defense, which we've been harping on, has been the difference. They really stay with their tenacious defense, and that's some credit to Mike Dunleavy. He's sold the importance of defense to this young team.
Knicks have 27 points, 23 of those coming from the front line of Charles Smith, Patrick Ewing, and Charles Oakley. The only guard who has scored is Blackman with 4, and right now Starks is off the bench, as is Anthony Mason. Charles Oakley leaving. He's had a great first quarter. Oakley, 3 rebounds, 7 points. With Mason checking in, a programming note that Bruce Beck is going to look at the locksmith at halftime. Been a great turnaround story for Anthony Mason and the Knicks. Danny Shays at the line, hitting the first.
It's very hard for a player on the professional level to get noticeably better from one season to the next. You know, you can do little subtle things that make you more efficient. Perhaps your shooting percentage might go up, your foul shooting particularly. And Mason seems to have made a very visual improvement from last year to this year in a couple of aspects of his game, most notably his outside shooting.
You know, it's remarkable, John, and maybe 3 years down the road when things will look back on what Dave Checketts and Ernie Grunfeld have done, when people talk about the trade for Charles Smith, maybe one of the single more important moves that they made in this offseason was the signing to a long-term deal of Anthony Mason.
Patrick Ewing working down low, gave out a lot of punishment on that move. Danny Shays took a shot, but he was playing closely to Ewing, trying to make it difficult for Patrick to get a shot up.
Ewing will step to the line. Mike Dunleavy looking at the scoreboard, down by 9 with 1:49 to go in the opening quarter. This is the first of a 5-game homestand for the Knicks, their longest homestand of the season. Ewing with 6 and 3 points and rebounds, now make it 7 and 3. Checking in is Lee Mayberry, who along with Todd Day make up a couple of Razorbacks, former roommates also at Arkansas, on the roster of the Milwaukee Bucks. Eric Murdoch sits. pressure by the Knicks, answering the pressure by Milwaukee. Danny Shays will throw it to his coach, and that's not going to cut it. You know, we talk about Mason and overachieving. How about Dunleavy, drafted 99th in the NBA draft in 1976. He lasts 11 years and returns to the city which once put him on waivers 4 times as a player to be their head coach. John Starks, his first time off the bench, rebounded by Mason. Starks and Mason work a little give and go. That leaves Charles Smith with all sorts of room. If you're hitting those,
it's a distraction sometimes when you're wide open like that. You put extra pressure on yourself knowing you should make it.
Alvin Robertson spins, sees Lohaus. Robertson really with a good battle against Starks.
Ewing got to know he knocked that shot away.
A whistle inside, things getting very physical. Danny Shays and Patrick Ewing. A 3-second violation called against Shays. Seconds to go. Ewing back out for Anthony. That allows Murdoch. Leaves Anthony open. Draws Lohaus. Anthony. Oh, airborne.
We haven't seen that one yet this year. Nice play by Greg Anthony.
Quickly at the other end, Brad Lohaus answers. And now the Knicks try to get it up the floor. And no one loves to do that as much as John Starks. Knicks lead is 11 with the seconds, as you see, counting down in the opening quarter. Mason.
What a great move. And the right hand at the end of that move. So comfortably done.
Almost stolen by Ewing from Lohaus. And Danny Shays gets the roll. And the foul.
Danny Shays has got to make sure he's ready to play today. He hasn't been playing much this year. He's getting early time and adding something to the Bucks. Nice touch by Danny Shays. Has been spending considerable amount of time at the foul line here in the first quarter.
Ewing gambled on the steal out of the three-point line from Brad Lohaus, and that left Shays open. It is 33-22. Shays with 6 points, tied with Alvin Robertson to lead Milwaukee. John Starks, guarded by Robertson, gets around him. Just too hard off the backboard.
Amazing to me how he got the shot off.
And Alvin Robertson will not be able to get that shot off. It is an end to the first quarter at the Garden. And a good start for the Knicks. Up by 11 to the 10-4 Milwaukee Bucks. Back.
Bill Brakowski, you know, Frank's been in this league for 9 years, had some lean years early with Seattle. How has he endured?
How's he endure? Well, I guess he had an attitude, I guess, that he wanted to endure. Everything he has, he made.
What about playing for Dunleavy? Does he like it?
He likes it very much, yes, yes. He thinks he's a wonderful coach.
What do you think of the game so far today?
Well, I'm disappointed he has 2 fouls so far, but that's the way it goes sometimes. I hope he does well.
All right, let's go back to Al.
Okay.
All right, Bruce, he's, as we've said, got his work cut out for him on that Knicks front line. Right now, Frank Brakowski on the bench with 0 points. Freddie Robertson off the bench to get the Bucks within 9 again. Just underway in the second quarter. Al Troutwick from Marv Albert, along with John Andres, Bruce Beck, Walt Frazier. And there you see the Knicks piling it in at 59%, and those were not all layups by any means. Anthony Mason fouled off the feed from Starks.
Stark showed a nice ability to recognize open teammates on the drive. A lot of times John has put his head down in the past and kept going no matter what served up to him, but he saw Mason in good position and did a nice job getting him the ball.
Anthony Mason will go to the line. He has 2 points. For the story in that first quarter, Oakley, Smith, and Ewing teaming up for 25 points. Still pace the Knicks. And now Herb Williams getting more early minutes as what seems to be the clear backup for Patrick Ewing, at least at this point in time.
Everything Herb Williams has done on the floor has been positive, it seems, and that's why Pat Riley is going to him quicker now, as he did in Cleveland the other night.
35-24, an 11-point lead again for the Knicks. Eric Murdoch wears number 11, or rather, Lee Mayberry wears number 11 for the Bucks. Todd Day, the other Arkansas rookie, with the turnaround. Day, the first lottery pick in franchise history, coming off that bad season a year ago. A swipe by Day, and he can't prevent himself from going out of bounds. As Herb Williams comes in, the conversation switches to rotation. It is something that Tony Campbell finds himself out of for now. Going in the past couple of games from starter to DNP. Out. Charles Smith, enjoying a fine first half, gets the hoop and the foul. Brad Lohaus whistled for the foul.
Well, Charles got the position, and quickly Greg Anthony recognized it and got him the ball. And a fine bounce pass into Charles.
59% shooting. The Knicks offense clicking for 33 first quarter points. That ties their season high. 100-point games have been a rarity, but when you score 33 and a quarter, it's a likely event. There'll be a foul on John Starks as Mayberry and Day work a give and go back and forth.
John Starks playing aggressively on Day. Day is listed at 6'6", Starks at 6'5". Doesn't Day look a lot taller than John Starks?
A lot taller. Roberts for Shays over Smith. Soft touch. 10-point lead for the Knicks. Smith for Starks. Looking for Mason after Roberts jumped out on the switch. Stolen back by Starks. Day had committed himself while falling out of bounds. Pretty quiet crowd in the first half here at the Garden.
Sloppy pass by Greg Anthony into Smith.
Now comes Mayberry again. Danny Shays. Smith on the rebound. Spinning away is Anthony. He's got Mason and Starks. It was on the edge of disaster from the moment the ball crossed midcourt. Mayberry shot rebounded by Anthony.
Bucks are playing at such a different tempo than they have in the past.
Little stutter step by Anthony. Rebounded with those long arms. Anthony Mason. And he's fouled on the putback.
Bucks are running more this year under Mike Dunleavy. Mike, of course, coming from that Laker background the last couple of years where they only run, has brought that style to Milwaukee.
Charles Smith hears it from the Garden crowd. 13 points, a couple of rebounds.
Greg Anthony handling the ball nicely for the Knicks, pushing the ball up close. And Anthony Mason in good position.
Mason hits the first. The Knicks are now 11 of 11 from the free throw line. Frank Rakowski back in. Brad Lohaus gone.
Needless to say, Al, that has been the big subject in all of today's papers. The subject of the Knicks has brought out the foul shooting situation. At home, the Knicks have been averaging almost 4 foul shots fewer than their opponents, the most unusual number. On the road, more than 10 a game. And that's costly in terms of point opportunities.
Knicks now in an expanding mode as far as their lead is concerned. It's now 14 points, 42-28, just under 9 to go in the first half. Frank Rakowski, a beautiful move to the basket. He's been scoring, has been leading the team in scoring 4 times and has been rebounding 5 times. He's led the Bucks in that category. In his last 5 games, he's been shooting the ball well, very similar to what Anthony Mason has been doing. 44-30. Just thrown away by Danny Shays. A lot of new faces on the floor. We'll pick up the matchups. It is Greg Anthony with Lee Mayberry. Starks with Todd Day. Anthony Mason with Fred Roberts. Herb Williams with Danny Shays. And Charles Oakley with Frank Brickowski. Starks on the run. Banks it in. Bangs it in.
Greg Anthony's doing a nice job leading the team.
Brickowski drawing a little pestering from Greg Anthony, and all alone is Brickowski on a nice spin move. He saw the open space out of the corner of his eye, and Frank Brickowski, after starting with 2 fouls and no points, has come back into the game with 4 quick ones.
He mastered position on Charles Oakley on that play. Kept Oakley behind him.
Starks gets a pick that leaves Oakley open. He looks inside, and there's Herb Williams. Mason with another rebound. Mason with 2 more points.
Brickowski clearly avoiding a foul situation. Allowed Mason to take that shot.
10 points for Anthony Mason. He's up by 16. Coming up short on the layup was Mayberry. Out come the Knicks running. Anthony with Starks.
Boy, Oakley pursued that rebound.
Swatted out of bounds by Todd Day. And there's a timeout on the floor at the Garden, with the Knicks enjoying a game so far that looks very similar to the Bulls and Trailblazers.
Reach out and get it if they're big guys. Great rebounders go after the ball. Watch Oakley on the left. He pursues that loose ball and makes sure it goes to his hands and not the other guys.
Total domination by the Knicks big men in the game so far. You total up the front lines and players off the bench for both teams, and the Knicks forwards and centers are outscoring the Bucks 38-20. Knicks getting 10 points from their backcourt and big rebounding help. 16-9. They're out rebounding Milwaukee. Greg Anthony with Starks. 3 on the 24. Anthony has to let it go, and he is hitting. Knicks have now moved above 60% from the floor. They're all falling. Approaching the midway point of the second quarter. Milwaukee has really struggled to get the ball down low all game long. Knicks defense from the perimeter on in gets tighter. Charles Oakley called on the foul, his first. Second team foul on the Knicks.
Charles Oakley in a battle, physical battle with Brickowski, getting in front of him. That discourages the passer to pass the ball in if the defender's in front of the man.
Oakley guarding Brickowski, who spins to the hoop. Got a little tip above the rim. It looked like it could have easily been offensive interference, but play moves on and the basket counts. 50-34.
The rule of officiating was right there.
Yeah, the boss. Earl Garrett and John Starks. Lee Mayberry ahead for Brickowski on the run. Under Oakley, and John Starks rejects it. Starks tries to answer. Beautiful feed. Mason on the reverse. Mason with 12 points and a beautiful assist from John Starks. This will be another foul on Charles Oakley, so 2 for him in the last minute.
The focus of the offense now for the Bucks is to go to Brickowski because Oakley's guarding him and Brickowski's getting position.
Anthony Mason with 10 points in the second quarter. Patrick Ewing returning for Herb Williams, who had a quiet stint on the floor, but defensively he was very active. Illegal defense called against the Knicks with Patrick Ewing on the bench. Pat Riley watched the Knicks outscore the Bucks 19-10. Ewing back in now with Oakley and Mason. Greg Anthony and John Starks are the guards. Freddie Roberts. Roberts in his 5th season with Milwaukee. That's the longest stint of anyone on the roster. talked about Bucks defense shutting down opponents shooting. 44% is what they normally allow. Right now, the Knicks are hot to say the least at 61%. Starks with a great fake and feed to Oakley. Saved by him out for Mason, who steals it from Todd Day. Takes it right in with a scoop. He beat the buzzer. Thrilling sequence for Anthony Mason and the Knicks. Freddie Roberts for another switch from the perimeter. Starks on the run. Look for Oakley. Hit hard by Brakowski and a foul.
End-to-end action. Both teams firing the ball up court.
Shutdown, it's almost as if they said, let's just have a few minutes with no defense and open it up.
Knicks pushing that ball inside. What a beautiful scoop move by Anthony Mason moments ago.
Boy, Mason has shown an improving repertoire offensively. That's one of the major ways in which he has improved himself from this season and last. Charles Oakley to the line with 4:24 to go in the half. Rolando Blackman is back. John Starks returning to the bench. Brett Lowhouse and Anthony Avent back in. Danny Shays is gone. And Freddie Roberts. Oh, Freddie's going to stay in. Stuck with my first thought. Freddie's gone. No, he's not. Who is the other substitute? Who else left? Oh, Shays. Thank you. Thank you, Bruce. Lou Edwards hasn't seen many minutes lately after the first quarter.
Tough matchup for him in the height department out there. The Knicks front line is so much bigger.
Mayberry with Anthony. Avent back on the front line. Defensively, he'll guard Ewing, and Ewing on him. Oakley with Lowhouse. Todd Day looking inside. Lowhouse tries to fake up Ewing. It's tipped by Freddie Roberts.
Roberts is hurting the Knicks. He's done it in the past.
Anthony is open. Oakley battling inside with Lowhouse. It is Lowhouse winning the rebounding battle. Knicks up by 16. Todd Day guarded by Rolando Blackman. A very young lineup out there for Milwaukee, but Freddie Roberts provides a lot of experience. Day rejected by Ewing on the baseline. Charles Oakley fell down, but he's back in okay. Doc Rivers and Charles Smith set to return. Well, this is a matchup that Ewing should be able to exploit. Avent guarding him. He gets a loose ball, winds up in the hands of the Knicks.
Charles Oakley, wherever there is a loose ball, if Charles Oakley's in the vicinity, he seems to get his hands on it.
Greg Anthony. Out of bounds, favoring Milwaukee.
Greg's so anxious to avenge his 4 layup misses the other night against Cleveland.
2:59 to go in the half. Knicks up by 16.
Old Spice leaders in the scoring department. Very interesting. University of Arkansas, their all-time leading scorers have all played for the Milwaukee Bucks. Everyone will remember Sidney Moncrief, of course, but 2 guys here today, number 1 and number 3. Mayberry is known for his defense, and still he was among the all-time scorers down there. But the defense is what really attracted the NBA of Mayberry.
What a rarity, John, that the 2 leaders on a team that won 28-6 in a major college program both wind up on the same team in their rookie years in the NBA.
Todd Day, as we're discussing the subject, makes a basket.
He heard us. We're close enough to the floor. 56-42 on Todd Day and his jump shot. Day and Mayberry both in the game. Blackman on the fall away. Mason tries to keep it alive, but it is Lee Mayberry coming up with the ball. Looks inside, and it is a good look for Anthony Avent.
Now that's an example of poor defensive transition by the Knicks. They were just beaten down court.
Knicks lead is suddenly only 12. Doc Rivers, and he is off.
Bucks guards are laying back on the Knicks guards. They're allowing them to shoot even again.
Ewing looks for Rivers. He stopped underneath. Mason for Rolando Blackman. Bucks defense giving the Knicks problems on this possession. Ewing met by Avent. Ewing again. Finally, he dropped it in. The Knicks were shooting at a clip of 61%. It's been falling down. It stands at 54 now, and that's all come in the last 2 minutes.
Ewing knows he will not get his shot blocked. That's why he keeps taking that ball to the hoop.
Anthony Avent again. 70 seconds to go in the first half. Doc Rivers in traffic. Ewing can't get the rebound. Day looked like he had that loose ball easily, then gave up on it. Winds up as another Knick possession. Doc Rivers way out. 50 seconds to go in the half. A chilly way for the Knicks to end out the first half. Rivers for Mason. Drives around Roberts and is fouled on that drive. Wait a minute. That is an offensive foul on Anthony Mason. Darryl Garrison saying he wrapped his arm around Freddie Roberts to gain access to the baseline. Now 41 seconds to go. Knicks' biggest lead, 16 points. Right now it's 12. Smith guarding Lohaus. Freddie Roberts from the outside. He's been hot. A three-pointer for Freddie Roberts, and the lead is below 10. 58-49.
That's Fred Roberts' first three-point shot of the season.
Rivers sees Ewing. Smith on the follow. Emphatically so. Charles Smith.
He's so good at taking the ball to the rim.
Mayberry, last chance. And that will do it for the first quarter. Well, the Knicks on the verge of giving an awful lot away as the first half comes to a close. But it is an 11-point lead, 5 less than their biggest lead of the first half. Coming up at halftime, Bruce Beck with a special look at Anthony Mason, otherwise known as the locksmith, of course. Bruce and Walt will have all the highlights. Halftime on MSG. Knicks 60, Bucks 49.
With the lead at the half, 60-49, but at one point they led by 18. Big first half for Anthony Mason, 14 points and 5 rebounds. And you know, Mason was the center of controversy earlier this season. On November 21st, he and Greg Anthony and John Starks were benched by head coach Pat Riley for trash-talking the game before in Los Angeles and for what Riley called unprofessional behavior. To Mason's credit, he accepted the discipline, and he agreed with Coach Riley that he needs to do some maturing. Meanwhile, on the basketball court, Anthony Mason has been maturing a lot over the past 2 seasons as his growth as a ball player has really skyrocketed. Bad to the bone, bad to the bone, bad, bad to the bone. He's the New York Knicks tough guy. He's assertive, strong, and respected by opponents around the NBA. He's Anthony Mason, who has turned his NBA career around since arriving in New York City. He comes off the bench and adds plenty of fire and firepower. And his versatility for a big guy is impressive. He's got the muscle of a center, the skills of a guard. A fan favorite, Mason has improved his scoring and rebounding numbers this year, despite the fact he's still coming off the bench for Pat Riley.
It's not about starting. The difference between a starter and a person come off the bench is you get your name called out, you know, in front of the crowd. I'm just a winner and I'm a competitor, and if he wants me to start, I'm going to come out just as hard. If he wants me to come off the bench, I'm going to come off the bench just as hard.
When Mason does come off the bench, you can expect plenty of defense. First it's the speed, then the hands, then the body. No defensive defensive situation is ever considered unimportant to the locksmith, who ties up opponents and does it with a ferocity which intimidates other players. His defensive prowess appreciated by Coach Pat Riley.
Anthony Mason, to me, is developing into one of the best defensive players in this league. Probably the fastest player that we have on the team, save for Greg Anthony or maybe John Starks in a foot race. He has great strength and flexibility and versatility. He's also improved his player who is a defensive player and a rebounder first and foremost.
My whole thing is to shut him down. I mean, make his game uncomfortable to where he's just looking forward to the next game. He's just relieved to get out of the game. It's a New York thing. Basketball is not just skill in New York. It's a whole lot of talking, and it's real competitive. So in order to shut somebody's mouth up, you shut them down, because one person scoring and you scoring, you still going to constantly talk back and forth. So my whole thing is to shut them down and display that locksmith image that I'm trying to put out this year.
Mason trying to improve his game with special emphasis on adding arc to his outside shot.
I've been working on shooting about 200 to 300 shots a day, working with Jeff Van Gundy, shooting quick, shooting, getting my feet under me to keep my balance, and like you said, putting more arc on the ball. You have a lot more play out of the ball by putting more arc on it. You don't give yourself a chance by shooting a line drive.
One of Mason's greatest attributes is the ball. Though he's 6'7", he'd love to play the role of point guard for the Knicks.
I'll tell you, I'm going to play point before my career is over. I feel I can handle the ball. I feel I can eventually defensive point. I like making the team better, you know, and I know I can pass. I love coming up on a break, dishing the ball off, and an offense like Coach Riley's, I mean, you have a point, but you can look like a point even at another position. He allows me to come up on the break and dish the ball off, and that's basically what I'm saying. I want to be a playmaker one day.
As far as running an offense and having to think for four of the players right now, I don't know if that is his game.
With a little work, a little hard work, I can do anything I want to do.
Anthony Mason has got a reputation for toughness. Anthony Mason lives by one credo.
I'm the locksmith. I'm going to lock you up.
Bad to the ball. Number 14, Anthony Mason, played 14 minutes in the first half. He scored 14 points. The locksmith lives on. Knicks leading the Bucks at the half at the Garden. We'll take a short break, and Walt Gleisbaser will join me for highlights in a moment.
You can go all out. You don't have to smell like it.
New York Knicks 60, Milwaukee Bucks 49 at the half. The leading score summary brought to you by your Tri-State Jeep and Eagle dealers. There's only one Jeep, and it's only at your Tri-State Jeep and Eagle dealers. For the Knicks, Charles Smith, third start, 15 points. Anthony Mason, 14 points in 14 minutes. Meanwhile, for the Milwaukee Bucks, not much of a first half for a lot of the big names. Fred Roberts, though, 5 for 5. He has 11 points. Bruce Beck along with Walt, Clyde Frazier. And Clyde, what about the work the Knicks did in that first half on the offensive glass?
Wow, they overwhelmed the Bucks, but we mentioned in the pregame show that could happen. The Bucks without a big man, only Brick Bukowski is 6'9", is very physical, and he has not been able to help them because of early foul trouble.
Knicks led at one point by 18. Their lead has been sliced to 11. Time to look at the halftime highlights, which are brought to you by Minolta, creators of the world's most responsive SLR cameras, the new Maxim XI series. Let's go to Anthony Mason, the locksmith.
Yeah, Mason has been bounding and astounding. This time wheeling and dealing inside for the layup. The Bucks without an intimidator.
Some guys have a knack coming off the bench, and Mason is one of them.
Yeah, look at this sweet deal there by Starks. The hustle of the Knicks. All the Knicks with a knack today, but they seem to thrive under the auspices of Mason, that time at 6'7", 250, swooping and hooping.
Ooh, what a move. Now let's go to John Starks, also came off the bench and provided a spark.
Yeah, Starks has been struggling from the perimeter, but all the Knicks are clicking in this game. So Greg Anthony trying to get the handle on the... So you see the Bucks are not getting back, folks. That time, pathetic defense as well.
So it's 60-49. The Knicks with the lead at the half on the afternoon ball day at the Garden. We'll be back with more in a moment. after weeknight Knicks.
For the Knicks, John.
Amazing, Al, with the Knicks going to the line more than their opponents in a big way.
And the shooting, the Knicks living life well above 60% for most of that half. Had a 45% effort in the second quarter, bringing them down to 52% for the entire first half. Back underway in the second. Alvin Robertson inside for Anthony Avent. Over Patrick Ewing, and Doc Rivers, active and charging the boards, comes up with it. Same starting five for both teams. Bucks ending that first half on an 11-6 run. They made 7 of their last 11 shots, and maybe the most critical player of the game so far is Freddie Roberts, who came off the bench for Milwaukee to score 11 and really changed the game. Avent, a great look from Robertson, is rejected by Ewing. It will be Knick ball.
Patrick's second block of the game. You know what's amazing about the foul shooting, Al? All of the Knicks' foul attempts came from the front line. Oakley, Smith, and Ewing and Mason did all the foul shooting for the Knicks. And that added up to 14 for 14.
Well, my point about Freddie Roberts, John, was that the Knicks front line was dominating Milwaukee as Charles Oakley travels while out of bounds. Turnover giving the ball to Milwaukee. And then when Roberts came in and was hot from the outside, that drew a frontline player with him, opened up the inside and changed the game and allowed Milwaukee to make some things happen. Frank Burkowski inside Avent. Milwaukee definitely calling 0-0 a lot at the start of this second half. Ewing with the missed shot. Now comes Doc Rivers. Ewing draws 2. Smith, who started the half well from the outside. Rivers driving the baseline. And the foul. He got whacked by Burkowski as he ran on by.
And a strong move by Doc Rivers. The Knicks will finally send a guard to the foul line.
Well, the foul was actually called on Alvin Robertson, and Doc Rivers will go to the line. Doc with 6 points, 3 of 5 from the floor, and 4 rebounds. Completing the three-point play. Now the Knicks up 63-49. Their biggest lead was 18. 50-32. Oakley outside with Burkowski. Starting to look like the first half when the Bucks struggle to get the ball inside. Blue Edwards. Rebound Oakley. Knick ball deflected by Avent as he pressured Charles. 8th sellout of the season. They have all been SRO for the Knicks at home, where they've won 7 and lost none. With the Bucks coming in at 10-4 with a 4-3 record on the road, and sometimes it doesn't matter who you're playing on the road. Charles Oakley with a great look from Smith.
What a soft pass from Charles Smith.
3 passes that I remember from Smith that directly led to hoops in traffic, in tight. He's thinking about it. Burkowski. Oakley goes by. Soft layup tipped up by Blue Edwards. Loose ball grabbed by Avent. Fakes and turns. Ewing with the rebound. Smith. Good scoop for Doc Rivers. Make him a point guard.
It's hard to believe that Anthony Avent, player Seton Hall is very proud of, had no rebounds in 16 minutes of the first half, and he's their leading rebounder. Side, Dutch boy in the paint numbers make it so. The Knicks dominating the inside area. And Charles Smith, look at that soft pass right to Charles Oakley. Beautifully done. That was only his second assist, though, statistically. It seems like he's done that more than that.
I can remember at least 4.
Well, we have an argument then with the people across the way, Al.
And we'll carry it to them. It may get physical. 2 on the 24. Avent bounces one in. You really have to think that Mike Dunleavy looks out on the floor and says, as constituted, this lineup creates bad mismatches for my team. This is a similar start to the beginning of the game here in the third quarter, where the Bucks started 1 for 7. Knicks were on a 7-0 run, although the Bucks finally answered that on the Avent jumper. 67-51. From the outside, it's Robertson, and he draws the foul, says Darryl Garrison. foul be called on Rolando Blackman. Rolando started very active shooting from the perimeter, and then Alvin Robertson tightened things up on him, and he has not been very much involved. 2 of 5 from the floor. Doc Rivers guarding Eric Murdoch. Blackman on Robertson. Ewing leaves Avent in the middle. Now tries to get back. All alone is Burkowski. He's met by Blackman in the air, but the foul and the ball dropped in.
I think that's maybe the nicest pass of the day. Murdoch handling that basketball. Crossover dribble, goes right, goes left. Beautiful bounce pass. Oh, what a setup for Frank Burkowski. Get an idea of what Burkowski felt like now as this ball came in. Gorgeous bounce pass.
7 points for Frank Burkowski. They call him Brick, and I can't help but think there's got to be a better nickname when you're a basketball player. 8.5 to go on the third. Knicks up 67-54. Rivers for Charles Smith. Burkowski outside with him. Ewing battling with Avent, trying to get position inside. Here it comes from Patrick, and he slams it down.
Now that's what you call a matchup problem for Milwaukee.
Robertson inside for Avent as the Bucks try to counter in the middle at this end of the floor. Blue Edwards. The Knicks say basically, I don't think so. 3 Knicks were up to slam him down.
Nice fake by Blue Edwards. Charles Smith called on the foul.
This is how you stop a guy from driving the lane next time down.
A look at Ewing moments ago, getting that ball with Avent behind him. And Avent just could not present enough of a size problem for Ewing. He was behind him, and Ewing kept him on his back and did whatever he wanted.
Theodore Blue Edwards makes it 69-56. And that'll be a foul on Eric Murdoch. John, continuing our nickname theme, do you know why they call him Blue? This is really from the dark side. When he was a baby in the crib, he was choking on his bottle. He looked blue to his sister when she found him, and it stuck.
Oh, that's a happy ending anyway.
Yeah, I could have gone the other way. Ewing with the fake, getting Avent in the air. Rebound, Blue Edwards.
Nice of you to recall that one now.
I had help, obviously. I wasn't there. Blackman called on the foul that'll send Frank Burkowski to the line. Quiet crowd today, John. And it's a young crowd. I'm surprised that we don't hear the kids a little bit more active.
I mean, they sense the domination by the Knicks.
Burkowski on the miss. Oakley for Doc Rivers. Neither team has gone to the bench yet in this third quarter. And beautifully done by Doc Rivers. Weaved his way through the entire Bucks defense. Doc with 7 points. Edwards for Robertson, the 2 balding Bucks. Out for Frank Burkowski. Over Ewing with a friendly drop.
Frank comes into this game as the Bucks' leading percentage field goal shooter at 57%.
Blackman, Smith, tough pressure defensively by Milwaukee. Doc Rivers, they're all falling for Doc right now. He's getting it inside and they're outside. 73-58, Knicks by 15.
The ball movement is outstanding by the Knicks. They're not holding the ball. The ball is moving constantly today.
And I mentioned Fred Roberts for a key player off the bench for Milwaukee, too. And a technical foul has been called.
Patrick was arguing a foul call that was just about to be expressed to the scorer's table.
That was the second foul on Ewing. He protested. That'll send Blue Edwards to the line on the technical.
Blue Edwards shooting his foul shots at an 84% clip this year. The leading scorer for the Milwaukee Bucks at 18 a game.
So Ewing standing now waiting for the free throws on the foul. They will also be taken by Edwards. Hit a career high, or Anthony Avent will step to the line, as you see. You mentioned the point scoring, Johnny. He's had 3 games Edwards has of better than 30. He has 32 points in the game against Denver.
Anthony Avent, of course, from Seton Hall. He was part of that championship season for Seton Hall. At any rate, they went to the '89 NCAA championship, lost to Michigan. Anthony was a sophomore then. He had a tremendous career for Seton Hall. The highest draft pick ever out of Seton Hall, now has a 4-year contract. He was drafted originally by Atlanta in '91, then spent last year in Europe.
Avent only one of 10 rookies to be on the opening night roster of an NBA team this year. Charles Smith, Knick transition, finger roll, followed by Oakley. Smith is there. Smith again. Out comes Murdoch. Blackman is back. Robertson off the glass. Knicks try to counter. Almost throw it away. Rivers scrambling, frantically holding on and dropping it.
Great hands by Rivers. You meant starting lineup.
Opening night starting lineup. Avent turned back by Ewing. Avent sees Murdoch. Here's a three-pointer for the Big East.
He's not shooting them well this year. I think that's 4 for 20 for Murdoch, but he made that look easy.
Ewing draws the double team. Knicks whipping around the perimeter. See how quickly the Milwaukee defense can react to ball movement as it goes around the entire floor. Patrick Ewing, 14 points. Knicks with 5 in double figures. It's been well balanced. 77-66. Murdoch drives and dishes. Ewing on the rebound. Throws it away as Robertson is there. Almost stolen back. Three-point attempt is short. Smith over the head of Blackman. Milwaukee quick to get back. And Rolando takes it from 15.
Knicks are playing very well here in the third quarter, but so are the Bucks. The Bucks are hanging with them.
Well, one thing Milwaukee's getting that they weren't getting in the first half, especially in the first quarter where shots to fall, they're getting at least a few of those here. Avent well short, but fouled on the shot. Third foul on Charles Oakley.
Talking to Mike Dunleavy before the game about Anthony Avent, he made a very interesting point about his career in Europe last year. I mentioned earlier that he was playing. He actually got dropped by the team he was playing for in Europe. In Europe, the teams over there expect the American players to be spectacular, flashy, highly noticeable type players. Avent is a very unspectacular player. He's only solid. He's a good defender, a good rebounder, excellent passer. He's not a flashy type player, and amazing, he gets dropped in Europe and he's in a starting lineup for an NBA team months later.
Well, he went for the money. Confidence probably took a big hit. Somehow he was able to gather it back enough to get things started for this season. Oakley crosses the midcourt line. See Smith. You may see Patrick. Now Doc Rivers slows it down. Smith driving on Blue Edwards. On his downward flight, Charles Smith, who shows a lot of hang time on his jumpers, puts it in. Smith with 17 points. Ewing just couldn't get to the rebound. Blue Edwards high over Ewing. Patrick's been extremely active in the block shot category after starting with none after 5 games.
The Knicks are now tasting the energy level and the toughness as Blackman hits that jump shot of the Bucks. So, because as well as the Knicks are playing, should they let up, the Bucks seem to have the goods to come right back into this game.
Rolando now 5 of 11 on the season from beyond the three-point stripe. It is 84-70. Knicks in front with 3:45 to go in the third. Avent looking in tight traffic, and Frank Burkowski just throws Doc Rivers to the ground.
Well, they were both grabbing for the ball, and Burkowski at 6'10" has all kinds of strength and leverage. And Doc Rivers just went along for the ride.
What a show of power for Burkowski.
Yes, arm strength, that left arm.
Well, Doc Rivers will sit now after the foul called on Burkowski. Anthony Mason off the bench with Greg Anthony. Frank Burkowski leaving with 4 personal fouls. Burkowski had been a big part of the offense in the third for Milwaukee with 9. Ewing finds Blackman. He follows his own shot. Spins, looking for help. Murdoch. Now the Knicks hustle to get back in the transition defense. Three minutes to go in the third. Avent on Mason. Whacked out of there by Ewing. It was intended for Danny Chase. Anthony for Smith. He'll try to do it on Blue Edwards. Mason with the follow. He's been so effective underneath. And as he's fouled, he just slaps the shot up there, so he'll get 2. Timeout on the floor with the Knicks enjoying a 14-point cushion at the Garden.
Kind of some Budweiser. Midas bench breakdown shows the Knicks dominating the Bucks. Not as large an advantage as usual, but Anthony Mason has provided the major spark for the Knicks off the bench. Big game for him. And we're still in the third quarter.
Anthony Mason to the line for 2. Successful on the first. You may have seen Charles Smith limp off the floor when the timeout was called. He has returned, obviously shaking it off, not limping any longer. Mason with a chance to give the Knicks a 16-point lead. It'll stay at 15. They led by as many as 18 back in the first half and gave a lot of it back at the close of the half, but at the start of this third quarter, it's been mostly Knicks. Off the bench is Lee Mayberry, who's a very intense type of point guard. He changes the tempo of the game for Milwaukee. Tight defense by Ewing and Smith. The loose ball winds up in the hands of Alvin Robertson. Shays from the perimeter. Big rebound by Smith. Great game of intimidation by Ewing and Charles Smith inside. Another finger roll swoop to the hoop. Pardon me, Clyde, for Anthony Mason.
He's so fluid. Mason is athletic, has his balance at all times between.
87-70. Shays for the cutting Avent. Double, then triple team. Alvin Robertson. That's a 2-pointer. Anthony guarded by Lee Mayberry. Ewing with Danny Chase, Blackman with Blue Edwards, Avent with Mason, Charles Smith with Blue Edwards. Ewing decides to stay outside and just let her go. Patrick Ewing with a 5 shooting game, 7 of 12 from the floor, 16 points. 17 for Smith, 11 for Oakley, 11 for Rivers, 17 for Mason. Blue Edwards. That is 9 points for Blue Edwards, an explosive score that the Knicks have been able to keep very much in check this afternoon.
Something to watch the defense of Robertson. He's always harassing the ball. Even full court, he's on the ball.
Blackman. Almost an air ball. May have been. Last minute of the third quarter. Avent slapped away by Ewing.
Patrick Ewing right on the case. He acted as though he was 7'6". He was right on top of the ball. Patrick very anxious to avenge that disappointing second half performance the other night in Cleveland. Continues the pressure here in the second half today.
Ewing guarded by Avent. Again drawing two, but calmly looking for the pass. He's been very successful at dishing it off and from shooting outside. That one is a rebound for Anthony Avent. The Bucks can play for one. Blue Edwards. Air ball, Knick ball. With plenty of time to get off a shot. Not a well-timed shot at all by Edwards. And an opportunity for Smith just does miss in a collision at the hoop. Some dirty looks after that play was over. There'll be a foul on the play. Todd Day is called for the foul. So before the quarter is officially over, Charles Smith will shoot a couple. I didn't hear the whistle, John. I couldn't believe there wasn't enough contact for a foul, and there it is.
Now let's provides me time to point out that the Rolando Blackmen Say Yes to Success basketball tournament will take place on Sunday tomorrow at Nazareth High School in Brooklyn. Rolando's Grady High School uniform number 32 will be retired at a halftime ceremony during the Grady Nazareth contest. And Rolando will be there.
And we will be back in a moment. 91-74 Knicks.
Welcome back to Madison Square Garden. I'm with NBA Hall of Famer Dolph Schayes, who's watching his son Dan play today. How will Dan, as a 33-year-old veteran, help this young ball club, Dolph?
He's 33 chronologically. He's got a 28-year-old body because he's really taking good care of himself. They need an old head out there with those rookies. You know, he'll settle them down. Also, Danny's a real good inside player. And I think that's where the Bucks will need some help inside.
Are the Bucks good enough inside to become an elite team in this league?
Offensively, maybe, but defensively, they're a little weak. I think they've got to get 5 guys on the board, but they've got athletes like Day and a couple other Edwards, and perhaps they're just a little short in that respect.
Dolph, you were a first-team NBA All-Star 6 times. The way the game has changed, could you play in this league today and be an All-Star?
I think so. You know, we only had 8 teams and 10 teams in those days. There's 27. I think I would have scored a lot of points. I drove to the hole good. I think I would be an All-Star today, but who's gonna say no, right?
Dolph, a pleasure to see you.
Thank you.
Let's go back to Al Trotwood.
All right, Bruce.
I certainly wouldn't say no, Al. I saw him as an NBA player, and he was a great one, and he'd be great in today's game as well. How about that two-handed set shot from near half court that he used to fire up, and when it would splash through the basket, he'd finish with that arm waving in the air, and no one will forget Dolph Schayes, who saw him play in New York.
His son Dan is out there on a front line that includes Brad Lohaus, Fred Roberts, Todd Day is in the game, along with Eric Murdoch, Freddie Roberts. Charles Smith trying to change his shot and doing it. Bucks hitting only 3 of their last 13 shots in the third quarter. Todd Day hitting metal. Charles Smith has just been everywhere in this game, inside, outside, shooting. And Anthony Mason's also played exceptionally well. Patrick Ewing on the bench with 4 blocks. That gives him now 13 in his last 3 games. Herb Williams giving Patrick Ewing a breather. 93-74. The Knicks up by 19 points. Jay for Lohaus. Drops in a 3. See, one of the things that gets the Bucks, what many teams don't have, is the perimeter shooting from their big men, and they've had that for the past few years with Freddie Roberts and Brad Lohaus. Herb Williams will give the Knicks a second chance.
Lohaus is most unusual. He leads this team in three-point shooting. That was the 16th one of the season he's made.
Anthony using the screen perfectly. Well, there's Freddie Roberts to pull down the miss. Knicks out rebounding Milwaukee 40-28. Oakley with 8, Charles Smith with 8, Patrick Ewing with 7, Anthony Mason with 7. Freddie Roberts on the hoops. 20-second timeout here at the Garden with Charles Oakley getting set to return. The tide changing here a bit from Milwaukee at the start of this fourth quarter. It is 93-75, still a comfortable margin. This program authorized by Madison Square Garden Productions Incorporated solely for the entertainment of our audience. And any publication, rebroadcast, or other use of the pictures, descriptions, and accounts of this event without the express written consent of MSG Productions Incorporated is prohibited.
Well, Pat Riley has to be very pleased, Al, at the effort his team has put forth today. No let-ups. They haven't changed their personality as they did the other night in Cleveland from the first half to the second half. They've been steady throughout and reacting as they have throughout their home season so far. They're very consistent.
And we have clearly seen the rotation. It's been 9 players today. It's been the 5 starters with Mason, Stark, Anthony, and Herb Williams. Tony Campbell has not played a minute. Didn't see any action in the game against Cleveland. Charles Oakley gets it in to Greg Anthony. He's pressured by Lee Mayberry. Bucks get great defense out of their guard position. Alvin Robertson, Eric Murdoch, and Mayberry, but there's a foul. It'll be on Dan Shays. Second on Shays, second on the team with 9:25 to go in the fourth. Mason guarded by the cut-in Fred Roberts. John Starks being tested by Todd Day, and a beautiful defensive steal with his former Razorback teammate. He's on the run and draw the foul. Day and Mayberry make it 93-81.
Well, from our upper deck trading card cam, we see Todd Day moving down court with his teammate Mayberry. They play catch. And Day goes up very easily and makes that shot. He was not in training camp. It's taking him a while. But they're finding out he's a much better rebounder and on-the-ball defender than they thought. Known for his shooting. And he's got other qualities that Mike Gormley is delighted about.
Day, the 8th overall pick in the first round, averaging 10 points and 4 rebounds and 20 minutes a game so far this season for Milwaukee, who come in, remember, with a 10-4 record. Tied with Chicago in the Central. Oakley, good look for Mason. With the 24-second clock about to expire. 14-point bulge for the Knicks. Oakley hustling on the baseline. Milwaukee with the ball. Knicks again with 19 points from both Mason and Smith. 16 from Ewing. Pat Riley has seen his team shoot well over 50% the entire game, at times over 60, right now at 54%. Brad Lohaus drops it off. Mayberry on the run and a nice soft touch for 2. Eight and a half to go. They clear it out for Anthony Mason. Crossover, back and forth, and rejected. Gets the return. Oh, determination for Anthony Mason.
That move expresses his career in many ways. He's rejected, but he doesn't stop.
Nice point, John. 97-83 with 8 to go in the fourth. Charles Smith getting set to return. Todd Day against Herb Williams. And the double pump. Greg Anthony to John Starks, well beyond his reach. Turnover for the Knicks. Charles Smith is back. And Herb Williams does his job in just a few quiet minutes. Hear that little cheer for Herb Williams? This savvy crowd noticing the contribution. Ten on the 24 for the Bucks. Lee Mayberry, crossover dribble, creating some space and laying it in.
A lot of quickness in Lee Mayberry, the way he went around Greg Anthony.
I think the pace of this Bucks team, John, is so much better with Lee Mayberry running the show. Anthony Mason from the free throw line. I think Milwaukee is destined to have a bit of a point guard controversy similar to the one that's been here in New York for a time. Not to say Murdoch's not getting the job done. It's just Mayberry's, it's like he's had, you know, a lot of coffee. Todd Day spinning to the baseline. Rebound Oakley. Hit from behind, but able to hold on. Mason looking for Starks for 3. Huge rebound by Oakley. Oh, not to be denied. He wanted that ball and gets a standing ovation for the effort.
That is really nice.
Anthony with 10. Starks looking for Mason. Great possession for the Knicks. They showed patience. They showed hustle. They wanted the rebound. They got it. They've got a big lead. 101-87. 6:23 to go.
We've been mentioning a lot of hustle by the Knicks team. Good ball movement. Mason over to Stark. Charles Oakley with a spectacular rebound. Keeps it in play. Stark runs it down. Anthony looking for people in good position to get the ball to. And Anthony Mason from the corner splashes a jump shot. Mason this half is 5 out of 6 from the field. 11 points and 3 rebounds in this half.
Knicks getting it from a lot of different directions, and it's well balanced. It's not Patrick Ewing with 30 and everybody else looking for their points. It's Ewing's contributions. It's Oakley. It's Smith. 10 turnovers for the Milwaukee Bucks. It'll be Knicks ball right in front of us here at the Garden on ball day. Another sellout crowd. 6 minutes to go. The Knicks definitely within range of moving their undefeated mark at home to 8-0. 14-point lead right now. Starks, great look. That's something the Knicks weren't doing when the season got started. Draw the defender. Somebody's open. It was Ewing, and he has the range. He has 18 points. Mason's 25 points, a career high, and he's beaten his career best by a lot. 17 was the standard until today. Rejection by Charles Smith. Well, the Bucks know when they go inside, they're going to be met by a gang.
Todd Day is impressive.
Smith spinning on Lowhouse. Oh.
Quickness, faking, moving.
Ball away by Smith. 21 points for him. The thing about Todd Day, John, really, when you think about it, is his virtual build, 6'6", 200 pounds, very, very thin.
Well, he's destined to be a shooting guard, although he's done a lot underneath the basket today.
Another big rebound by Patrick Ewing. Well, some of the numbers that the Knicks are putting up in this game are very impressive. Finally, the shooting touches there, the passing, rebounding, the dedication to defense. (45-32), the rebounding advantage for the Knicks. And as I've mentioned before, they're spread out like the point numbers. 10 for Oakley, 8 for Smith, 8 for Ewing, 8 for Mason. John starts with only 4 points, but he's been running and keeping the Knicks in motion. Frank Burkowski pulled down by Doc Rivers. Just about 4 minutes to go, with the Knicks maintaining a percentage of over 50% and keeping the Bucks at a percentage that their opponents are more used to. Ewing running, looking. Knicks tremendously patient on offense this afternoon. Doc Rivers from the outside. It's a two-pointer. He was just inside the arc.
It's been an excellent game for Doc Rivers.
His numbers, John, 6 of 10 from the floor, 13 points, 5 rebounds for Doc. Mowbray for the cutting Roberts. Quickly, Mason right in his face. Left shot for Roberts. Ewing with another rebound. That's 9. Rivers for Starks, thinking about driving on Day. Charles Smith, well off. And Freddie Roberts is there. 3:20 to go. Knicks up 107-89. Oh, that's what you're talking about.
He just gravitates to the basket. Todd Day and the basket and the ball know each other very well, although this is his first visit here to Madison Square Garden.
And 7 of 12 from the floor for Day with 14 points. That'll be a Knick ball. A break for the home team and a timeout on the floor. They're rough day for the Milwaukee Bucks with 2:56 to go.
Kowski matched up as they have been from the start. Frank got in foul trouble early. Ewing's really hitting that jump shot today and has looked sharp.
John, I think you're having a problem relating to the young audience. He doesn't buy it, John. The numbers just won't do it for him. We've got 2 minutes and 56 seconds to go. The Knicks taking the Milwaukee Bucks to play, exploring what they knew would favor them before the game even started. And now in 3 consecutive games, Chicago, Portland, and now the Bucks. The Knicks have had it almost entirely their way here at Madison Square Garden. John Starks with space, the reverse just off.
Looked like John ran into a keyhole then, you know, into the basket. A lot of people were converging, and still he was able to make himself skinny enough to get up to the basket and get that shot off.
I think Anthony Mason with his locksmith thing, he has us thinking in these,
I never thought of that.
Keyhole
Yeah.
before. Third foul on Anthony Mason will send Brad Lohaus to the line. Oh, they're going to inbound it. Freddie Roberts will inbound. Mayberry guarded by Rivers. Lohaus guarded by Smith. Mason on Roberts. Day with Starks. Ewing with Frank Burkowski. Burkowski lost that ball, and Doc Rivers scans the floor. Sees space and sees Smith. Great fake. Power to the hoop and a foul. That's a good sign for the Knicks that we've seen 3-4 times today from Charles Smith. Definitely thinking, get to the basket. Don't turn on the jumper.
Nice little fake by Charles, who demands attention because of his good shooting, and he floats right to the rim again. Well, Pat Riley the other night in Cleveland, Al, you recall after the game when it was pointed out how the Cavaliers had so many more foul shots than the Knicks did. I'm sick of whining about it, he said. But he also pointed out that his players have got to draw the fouls. They've got to go to the basket. The Knicks seem to have gotten that message here today as they have spent a considerable amount of time on the foul line.
Yeah, the other thing, John, and then in this passing offense where Pat Riley wants to make sure that there's enough movement of the ball, I think that there have been times where the Knicks didn't necessarily use that passing to get the best shot. They didn't necessarily use that passing to get the hands of someone who was in a shooting position. Today, I remember Blackman getting the ball in a position to shoot, and Charles Smith, and it's been a major change as far as the passing goes this afternoon. 8 on the 24, 2 minutes to go. Burkowski with a charge to the hoop. Mason comes out behind the back. Smith for Ewing. Missed the dunk. Touchdown for Day. And he is fouled by Doc Rivers. Patrick Ewing shaking his head. Another glimpse of ball movement by the Knicks with the score 109-91 with 1:44 to go. Rookie Todd Day will go to the line. His roommate Lee Mayberry on the same team.
After the Knicks 14 for 14 first half, they are now 20 of 21 from the line today. They were outshot by 31 the other day from
John, you must be reading the wrong numbers. They don't buy it.
Sure that's not a replay?
Let me just double check for you. You're right. I don't know what their problem is.
A couple of dizzy guys there in another minute or so.
And you know what's amazing, John? They're doing it without any prompting from the cameraman whatsoever or our crew. 109-92 with 1:40 to go. Doc Rivers trying to elude Lee Mayberry. Knicks will go 8-0 at the Garden. And the news of these Saturday debacles for the visiting teams will spread rapidly through the NBA. Mason. Brad Lohaus with Freddie Roberts getting the rebound, but it's all too late for the Milwaukee Bucks. Lohaus for 3. Mason launches one for Ewing. This time he drops it in.
Very impressive performance by Anthony Mason.
Been a 20-point, 9-rebound afternoon for Ewing. for Mason. John mentions 25 points, a career best, 10 rebounds. Day holding that shot with Ewing just sailing by and dropping it in. He is showing tremendous signs for Milwaukee. What's interesting here is that Pat Riley has kept Patrick Ewing, Charles Smith, and Doc Rivers in what has clearly become garbage time. No minutes for Tony Campbell. No minutes for Hubert Davis. No minutes for Eric Anderson. Interesting. 32.9 to go.
Well, it would appear that he wants his team to finish in very strong fashion this way, and he doesn't want to interrupt the flow.
We've often talked about how tough the Knicks practices are. When the Knicks dismantled Portland, Pat Riley responded by giving them a day off. That's a lot of inspiration for these guys to get a day off at home.
Knicks will look forward now to Seattle here on Tuesday, and then Charlotte Thursday, and Detroit on Saturday.
And then the homestand will continue with Denver and New Jersey.
AT&T long-distance shooting for the day shows the Bucks doing a better job than the Knicks, although the percentages are the same for both teams.
Mayberry. Knicks will keep the Bucks under 100 unless there's a total collapse here. Todd Day slams one down.
Todd Day has had a very good time here today.
He has. He's had a good day, John, you could say. Good thing it wasn't a night game. I couldn't have gotten away with that. The buzzer sounds at the Garden. The Knicks will hold the Bucks under 100. Go 8-0. Yes, they will. Yes, they'll go 8-0 here at Madison Square Garden with the final score 111-98 over the Milwaukee Bucks, whose record is now 10-5, 4-4 on the road. Bruce Beck will anchor our post-game coverage as we bring you back to Madison Square Garden in a moment.
Shaving would be simple, and any razor would do, if your face was square. But your face has curves. Presenting the revolutionary Schick Tracer, the only razor with twin blades that flex. Compared to other razors, Schick Tracer puts more...
At home as they defeat the Milwaukee Bucks in this afternoon matinee. Final score 111-98, and for the 7th time in the last 8 games, the Knicks keep an opponent under 100. But it was the kind of day in which teamwork was the focus. A lot of players giving up the ball for others. The Knicks playing solid defense early on, and late they got good production from a variety of people, including Anthony Mason, who had a career-high 25. Watch Mason here dish the ball up court to Ewing, and Patrick lays it up and in. It was that kind of day, that kind of sacrifice on the part of the Knicks. The leading scorer summary is brought to you by your Tri-State Jeep and Eagle dealers. There's only one Jeep, and it's only at your Tri-State Jeep and Eagle dealers. Look at the performance of the front line. Mason 25, Smith 23, Ewing 20, and Doc Rivers finishes with 13, Charles Oakley 11. On the other side of the coin, Todd Day led the way with 19. Anthony Avent with 14. Fred Robertson 14. And Alvin Robertson finished with 10. So the New York Knicks winning in convincing fashion. We'll be back from the Garden. We'll talk to the Red Smith and much more in just a moment. Knicks victorious over the Milwaukee Bucks, 111-98 at Madison Square Garden this afternoon. The Knicks remain perfect at home. And the Coca-Cola player of the game today, there's no doubt about it, Anthony Mason, who finishes with 25 points and 10 rebounds. Coca-Cola Classic. Enjoy all the Knicks excitement with Coca-Cola Classic. Can't beat the real thing. Take a look at some action from earlier, as Mason did a lot of things offensively and defensively. Here, John Starks making the penetrating move, dishes it out to Oakley. Oakley finding the open man. Mason posting up, and that soft jumper on the baseline good for 2 points. He shot 10 for 12 from the field, and over the last 3 games, Mason 19 for 25 from the floor. You know, at halftime, we talked a lot about your defense, but offensively, you're coming on. What are you doing differently right now offensively?
I'm
shooting the ball with more arch. I'm not hesitating. When I get the ball with the airspace, I'm shooting. I'm not thinking about it like I used to.
Comfortable in your role coming off the bench? All right, take a break. It's okay. It's allowed. You had a tough ball game.
Yeah, I feel we have an advantage coming off the bench. The starters set the tone, and we see what's going on the floor. We see who's hot on the other team and what we have to do when we get on the floor. So I think we have more of an advantage coming off the bench.
Why do the Knicks play so much better at home?
I don't know. We just up for it. We're not going to let nobody come in our house and, you know, do what they want to do. Just like at home, you're not going to let nobody break in your house and walk all around the house. And that's what we feel. We got to put it together on the road. We got to concentrate more and execute better. But right now, we're at home, and that's where we're going to make our stand right now. We're going to concentrate and keep practicing on getting the wins on the road.
After the controversy with the benching and everything else, you were very outspoken about the fact that you felt the coach was right, and you felt you had to mature as a ball player. What was your reaction in that respect for?
I just felt, you know, it was a great decision for the team. You know, I was having a good preseason. This is just personally. I was having a good preseason, and I stopped losing sight. Started losing sight for a minute, you know. And then he had to bring us all back down. We were players who want to do so much for the team, get out of control every now and then. And he brought us back down to where it's now team first, team last, and that's all we work for is for the team.
And Anthony, being the team focus, you came up with a big individual game. Congratulations. Keep up the good work.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
So Anthony Mason finishes with 25, 10 for 12 from the field, 5 for 6 from the line. And Mason, who's come a long way from playing with the Long Island Surf in the USBL, has another big ball game.
And I'm the mayor. Yo, fella, how about a game of hoops? Hey, what? With you? No, with your mama. Mom? This guy was good, but he was all dribble. Say what? Come on, man. Man, he deserved one of these. Franchise for the cold, bud. Solid.
Well, I think that improved to 10 and 6. Pat Riley addressing the press here at the Garden.
He's getting, you know, better every game. So I mean, that's a big lift for our offense right there.
To be coach, do you think the team is beginning to gel at this time?
Well, we've been up and down. I mean, this is just, you know, another game that it's been up, down, up, down, up, down. Now we're up today. We got 4 more games at home, and so this is a good time to take advantage of it. We've been playing well at the Garden, and so we'd like to get somewhat of a cushion, and before we go back out on the road.
Do you get a sense that the forwards are beginning to get a little used to playing with each other and a couple of
Oh, they're making a lot of interior passes, yeah. But the thing about it is you got to see it. You know, Charles is a good passer, and you know, as he's looking to shoot the ball, he does have eyes, you know, too. It isn't somebody comes, he's making dish passes underneath, but tonight it seemed as though they were in pretty good sync, you know, around the basket. We talked a lot about passing the ball early today, that if we held the ball too long because of their defense, then we weren't going to get a good shot. And I think every time we did not get a good shot. They rotate very quickly to the ball, so we shortened up our passes, and guys were knocking down some jumpers.
So talk about being up, down today. Were there little indications to you early on that it was going to be an up day?
No. You know, I mean, you know, I felt very confident coming into the Garden. It's been good to us here, but I thought in the first quarter, in the first 4 or 5 minutes of the game, you don't win or lose anything in the first period, but you want to get off to a good start, and we did.
Now you talk about up, down, basically being on the road or at home. You're up on home, down on the road. Do the players, you think, have a certain underlying confidence coming in? They know they're going to play well at home. They just feel much better.
There's no guarantees that that's going to happen. You know, you can't rely on that all the time, and it's nice to fall back on. But you know, somewhere we're going to have to get this thing together when we go out there. It was a heavy week, as 37, win by 30 or 35 against Chicago, and then lose by 10, and then win by, or have a 25-point win over Portland, and then lose by 10. It's confusing. A little perplexing, you know, as to why there's such a discrepancy there, and we can't be that good at home and that bad on the road. So there's got to be a reason for it, and we have to find the solution for it.
Is there more intensity on
The Coaches Conference has been brought to you by Air France. The Knicks winning at home, and they've got 4 more in a row at MSG coming up. Welcome back to Madison Square Garden. The New York Knicks defeated the Milwaukee Bucks. The Bucks now 10-5 on the year. 111-98 the final. Bruce Beck back with Walt Clyde Frazier. You know, Clyde, when the season began, Knicks had high expectations for their front court with Charles Smith coming over and Anthony Mason coming off the bench. Well, today we saw a lot of the productivity from 4 different people up front. Oakley did the rebounding, and Smith, Ewing, and Mason did the scoring.
Yeah, that's true. A riveting performance, Bruce, by all the Knicks, I thought. They were impeccable on the offense, an impregnable defense. The Bucks were baffled, befuddled, could not get inside. So the transition game was good. But what I like most about this game, they played a shrewd game. They did not beat themselves, no foolish fouls, no ill-advised passes. And that's the thing I think that ignited them today, because as well as the bench being productive, normally the bench has not been productive. And in previous games like this, the Knicks would get off to a good start. Late in the fourth quarter, they start to fall to let teams back into the game.
You talked about Mason. The bench did the job. Anthony in particular.
Yeah, he was a pulverizer this afternoon. So he just hounded and pounded and astounded the Bucks underneath.
Charles Oakley on the boards, finished with 10, 6 in the defensive glass.
Yep, same with Oakley. Look at the hustle of the Knicks, and the crowd gave them their due today, gave them a standing ovation because of their tenacity on the court.
I think unselfishness has to be a key word this afternoon, and it's something that you know a lot about from your days with the New York Knicks.
Yeah, it was contagious today, reminiscent of the championship years. But normally when you get it going like this, everybody gets into the flow. They were dishing and swishing, helping out on the defense. It becomes, again, a contagious thing that permeates the team.
The Knicks fans are hoping that the team can put together a series of wins instead of a win here and a loss there, and not anything in terms of a run. They've got 4 consecutive home games now, Clyde. Do you expect this club to put together a run now?
I think so. I think this might be the game that propels them to the next level, take that quantum leap that everyone thinks they will have this season. So this was a good indicator of, I think, of things to come for the Knicks.
Clyde, very sharp today.
Yeah.
Afternoon game, surprised.
Yeah, because these guys are nocturnal. They're a nocturnal creature, yeah. Even the Knicks, normally they come out sputtering, misfiring, but they were galvanized this afternoon.
All right, so the New York Knicks knock off the Milwaukee Bucks. They now have first place in the Atlantic Division for themselves over the Orlando Magic. We'll be right back.
Have you ever thought about wearing shoes?
People who want to write.
King of Beers, the only beer with the taste as genuine as the people who drink it. Nothing beats a Bud.
And the Bud Dunk of the game provided by Patrick Ewing, backing in on Anthony Aven, giving the former Seton Hall product a lesson with the monster one-handed jam. The upcoming schedule for the Knicks, a chance to really move ahead in the standings. 4 consecutive home games. This is their longest homestand of the year. And even when they venture to the road, they're pretty close to home at New Jersey, at Boston, and against Miami. By the way, the Milwaukee Bucks are now 10-5, but this is the most important stretch of the year for them. They play Phoenix at home tomorrow, then they're at Portland, at Golden State, at Utah, at the LA Lakers, and at Seattle. So we'll find out if this club is for real or not in the next week or so. Knicks winning in the afternoon at the Garden. For John Andres, for Al Trotwood, and Walt Clyde Frazier, I'm Bruce Beck. We'll be back with more from the Garden in a moment. Career high, Anthony Mason, 25 points. No Campbell, no Davis, no Anderson, but the Knicks win convincingly. Our next broadcast, Knicks basketball against the Seattle Supersonics. It begins with game night on Tuesday.
Voluntarily cooperate to become part of the team is the most difficult thing that a coach has to do, because most individuals, for the most part, are selfish and self-centered, and they want to do things for themselves, and you got to eliminate that thinking from their mind. The whole base of our philosophy is born out of physical conditioning, mental conditioning, and the ability to endure through rigorous workouts, pushing and making demands of them that they wouldn't ordinarily get in their regular lives. And so our whole base of philosophy is from a conditioning, hard-working, professional, and selfish standpoint. And I think we do have that down, but it doesn't mean that we are together yet as a team. That will take time.
The New York fans, hungry for an NBA championship that has eluded them for nearly 20 years, expect Pat Riley to make a winning formula out of this new equation.
Davis comes to the Knicks as
one of the keys to a successful season for the Knicks will be the maturing of their younger players as they gain a better understanding of their roles as part of a cohesive team. Swipe by Anthony. Knicks by 4.
If you don't develop the proper attitude in how you receive instruction and accept coaching or education or whatever it is, then you're never going to get anywhere. The most important thing any young man or woman can develop is an attitude. The attitude that comes from inside, the attitude that is created probably from your interaction with parents and teachers and friends and mentors.
Anthony Mason, who's been working overtime with assistant coach Jeff Van Gundy on the outside shot. Anthony Mason has that attitude. After a 1991-92 season that saw him play in all 82 games for the Knicks, averaging 27 minutes, 7 points, and 7 rebounds per game, he is continually learning more about his role on the team.
I see my role on the team as being a physical presence, a rebounder on the floor, a defensive player firstly, and just contributing as much as I can. And I stay prepared by working hard every day, staying late after practices, coming early before practices, working out with the coaches and all my weaknesses.
Anthony Mason. Mason get a good position underneath. There's that pump move, power to the bucket, and uses the...
Mason has always been a hard worker. At Springfield Gardens High School in Queens, he was all-city in his senior year, even though he only started playing basketball in his junior year.
When I tried out for Springfield, I didn't have the talent really to make the team, but I could run and I could jump. And then when he checked the grades, my grade was far and above everybody else's, so he decided that he would rather deal with me than deal with somebody who was on the borderline. That was just a learning year, and that whole summer I took time and trained. He worked with me, he opened the gym for me, when he didn't have to, and I shot around and learned how to handle the ball, real good for a big man. And so it all worked for me in my senior year, which I had a decent year, and I was the only one that got a D1 scholarship.
The teachings of a good coach go far beyond the rim on a basketball court. Anthony Mason has carried his high school work ethic not only to his job with the Knicks, but to his responsibilities as husband and father. As an athlete, he knows the importance of being fit. As the father of 2 children, he has a special appreciation for the importance of his wife's prenatal health as well.
She worked in the hospital, so she pretty much stuck to her job. She knew how important it was. All the 9 months, you waiting to see what it's going to be, and you're hoping it's healthy, and your biggest concern is that you have a healthy child, whether it be a girl or a boy. So it's a miracle of childbirth, like I said, and it's great to see him come out healthy.
Patrick Ewing getting the ball down low.
The health of the Knicks should improve under the guidance of Pat Riley, as Mason and his teammates hone their performance as a unified team. The pressure to win is intense, especially in New York. Coach Riley, who is also a father of 2, has to strike a balance between his public and private lives.
If you're losing a lot in the job, you bring home a negative state of mind to your family, you won't have a good balance. So I really try to separate the both. We're professional athletes, and so we're drilling here a lot. We're demanding a lot. There's repetition. There's over and over and over again. And they say 70% of all communication is the tone of your voice, so I'm constantly driving and driving and driving. And so with the kids, I think it's a lot different with that. And the kids are prone to making more mistakes, and so you got to tolerate that. I have a tendency to be a little more autocratic as a coach, okay? Not that I think it's necessary, but most young children are going to experience frustration when they can't do things or aren't allowed to do things, or you don't let them do certain things. You got to have a firm hand, but at the same time, you got to constantly be very positive with them. And I don't bring a coaching demeanor at all into my fatherhood at all. It's really fatherhood more than anything else.
As a coach and a father, Pat Riley places great value in having the right attitude about sports and life in general.
Stay away from people who don't care. There are a lot of people who don't care about you. There are a lot of people who just love to take you down the wrong path. You'll know who they are. And just stay away from them. You know, be around people who have a positive attitude, people who care about you, people who will join forces with you to do something significant for somebody else, or for your school or whatever, your community. Once you develop an attitude like that comes from inside, then you take that attitude to everything you do in your life, and it's something you cultivate. So the attitude to me is significant more than any other thing.
Although Pat Riley feels the Knicks aren't fully there as a team yet, the maturing of their younger players, like Anthony Mason, is certainly very encouraging. We'll be right back with the Jets, the Rangers, John McEnroe, and more after this message from the market.